Hey everyone. Hope your weekend is going well. This is Drippy, your source of options trip on a daily basis. On this channel, we talk about some of the most exciting setups based on the technical analysis, pattern analysis, macroeconomic events, and current market structure. So, as you all know, I'm not a financial advisor. My goal is for all of you to achieve financial freedom and generate life-changing wealth using options and compounding growth. So without further ado, let's talk about some of the setups I'm watching for this week. Please note that I may or may not be in these positions, and you are responsible for taking profits and also managing your risk for these. Also, keep in mind that any idea I share here doesn't mean it's going to work out exactly. Sometimes these plays take more than a week to develop, right? I try to time it, but it sometimes just doesn't work. It just depends on the market. So let's look at the current market, for example, SPY. And SPY right now, of course, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's right at this demand zone, which it couple times bounced out of. So you can tell that it may retest this, and bounce from here, or there is not much volume below, so it can definitely test this area. So if that's the case, so if it breaks below this 425 support, you can actually swing SPY itself, like you can swing the 410 puts, sorry, for 2 or 3 weeks out, because this is a thin volume here, so it can definitely retest this area. And if it breaks above, then we need to think about what to do next. But right now, looking at the futures, let's look at the futures right now. And one thing you'll notice is that this 4 hour squeeze actually fired to the downside on ES already. So that's not a good sign for the market. And also you see this consolidation range here. So it's just, I've set my alerts if it breaks below this. But it can also reverse from here. It's just too much dependent on the macro events going on, and we have so many events next week, so we have to be super careful next week with any positions we have. We need to either hedge them or take profits fast. So couple note about last week swing plays. So EXC is still in play. EXC actually, we got around this area as expected, around 42, and right now it's sitting at 44. And if you look at the daily chart, looks solid, looks like it's going to continue up. Looking at the weekly chart, there's not much volume here for EXC. If you look at the volume weighted average price, sorry about that, volume profile, for EXC for monthly chart, for example, it's literally very thin volume here above $45. So this is something which I'll be watching going forward. It can definitely create some massive moves if it gaps up in this volume area. We are already swinging from the profits, but I'm planning to add more actually if we get a dip or something like that. But keep an eye on EXE for sure. Okay. And next one, the last week, other one we had Lucid. Lucid looks like, sorry about this. Yeah, Lucid looks like it might get some kind of bounce here, maybe, but daily squeezes fire to the downside. So looks like there is more continuation for Lucid to the downside here. Very thin volume. So Lucid again, you keep that on your watch list for continuation to the downside for Lucid as well. So last week's swing plays actually still valid. You can still swing them. I'm gonna talk about some new ones. So first, I want to talk about GME. GME was also in the last week swing plays, and we are already in the 100 puts for March 18th. But I want to tell you that this kind of consolidation it broke below. So if you look at the 4 hour chart for GME. 1 second, let me just disable this volume profile. Yeah, so if you look at the chart on the 4 hour chart, the squeeze fire to the downside the 2-hour chart squeeze fires to the downside, right? And it broke below this kind of major consolidation area range here. So my target is like $100 to $90 in 2 or 3 weeks, and it's right now in this kind of like a pennant formation, or you can see a bear flag, and looks like this was a bigger bear flag, and now it's ready to break down. So in 2 or 3 weeks we can actually see $80. Now I own the shares for GME, so this is a hedge for me. I don't like buying puts on my positions, like especially the long ones, but you gotta do what you gotta do to protect your long positions. And in this case, you can either sell your calls, but buying puts will actually give you more profit if it works out in your favor. It's a win-win in my opinion. So GME flow, let's look at the GME flow real quick, and you can see here that we have still bearish activity going on with buying 115 puts, 110 puts, 115, selling calls again, buying 110 puts, and these are distributed for 75 days. So these, of course, people are swinging bigger sizes here, and GME is kind of violent, so they're keeping that in mind. And I think let's next week, if the market is weak, GME definitely has a lot of weakness, and can definitely see some good swing opportunity on GME. So next one I want to talk about is, so GME is a bearish, and below 110 you can buy weekly 100 puts, or I would suggest that a better option is to buy swing plays 2 or 3 weeks out, give it more time. And then another one I want to talk about is ARCC. Now ARCC is Eris Capital, and if you look at the company's profile, they actually lend small and middle cap companies capital, right? And it's kind of like Upstart but for business. And if you know about the interest rate hikes and stuff like that, you know that it's not really good for lenders right now. So keeping that in mind, I think ARCC also has a kind of like a divergence forming here, where I don't have the RSI here right now, but just looking at this chart, for example, excuse me, you can see that it created this kind of high bounce from here, and now it's right at this level. Okay. And from a perspective of just looking at the weekly chart, and it's in a squeeze, so everything looks great, right? But just because of the macroeconomic events, if it breaks below, always wait for confirmation when you see that it was in an uptrend. So if it breaks below 21.8, that's when I will think about opening a swing position 2 or 3 weeks out, or even going to the April swing position. And if you look at the flow for ARCC here, you can see that they bought 10,000 puts, and like that's put to call ratio for ARCC. I mean, if you go here, and $20 puts expiring in 14th of April. So in 40 days, they're giving themselves time. And if you look here, put to call ratio is 91. Put volume 56,000. That's insane compared to the average of it, right? So it's definitely a great opportunity for us to enter along with these guys. Now it might gap down. If it gaps down, the play is invalid. If it gaps down for some news or something, then it becomes invalid. We need to reevaluate it, right? But looking at the key support areas for it, where you should take profit, this area right here, 21.64, is another one to watch. But I think it's a swing play, and because of the macro events, I think it's just better to let it play out. So ARCC. Next one I want to talk about, I'm excited about this one. I've been watching this chart for a while now, is General Electric. And if you look at the weekly chart for General Electric, sorry, you can see that, it was kind of above these weekly EMAs, and now they've crossed, and now it's below all of them, and now it's showing this weak pattern here, the H pattern, what we say. And it has a lot of room to go to the downside. There's a gap here which it can fill. And also, if you look at the monthly chart, again, the same thing, it got rejected. Here you see these big wicks here. So now we actually have some, now we need to wait for confirmation on this one, because it hasn't really broken below this support area right here. So it's a longer term swing play, 2 or 3 weeks out. But if it breaks below this 86.2 support, then $80 puts will work. And if you look at the flow for General Electric, we have $80 puts being purchased for expiration, again, 40 days. These are not expensive contracts, and the spread is really good. So I really like this setup. I actually like the play as well. So setup looks good, flow looks good, we have time, the premiums are good, the spread is nice, and it gapped down as well. So, and if it gaps up, let's say that it tested $92, I will definitely add size on the swing play, because I've been watching this one for a while. Next I want to talk about is STECOM with strip.com. And I've been watching this one as well. I've been waiting for it to kind of break below this kind of like expanding megaphone pattern here. If you look at the weekly chart for this, it's again like a kind of like a bear flag breakout, or a rising wedge breakout, if I may say. And you can see here that this name, once it breaks below key levels, especially this EMA, the fast one, it continues the trend for a lot of days, for weeks actually. So I'm hoping that we'll see something like this again, and it could turn out to be a great swing opportunity. The earnings are coming up, and the premiums are not that expensive on this name. Sorry about that. Yeah, the premiums are not that expensive, and the target, of course, the first one for me is around $21, $20. I'm expecting that to happen in 2 or 3 weeks again. So the theme for me is, because the wicks is high, you need to get some time, because or you trade them intraday. You can trade them intraday as well, like, and then swing from the profit, right? There's not much volume here on the option contracts for Trip. Sorry, TCOM, my bad. There's not much going on with respect to the option volume. There's like a small order here, excuse me, 250 orders, but the spread is nice here. And this is for 18th of March, and this is not my order, but it was a sweep, and it was at 250. But I'm watching this. I'll probably add some swing on this one. I really like the setup, and if the market is bearish, go with the bearish ones. Next couple two I want to talk about are bullish setups, and I'm gonna tell you the reason behind them as well. Now this one is Walmart. We've been trading Walmart for last couple days. We actually started trading Walmart right at 136. Now it's at 142. I think Walmart is shaping up to be a bigger breakout swing play. I think my target for a month out or 2 months out is $155 to $160. I also added some shares for Walmart. Well, I got assigned actually, so I had to add. But the reason is because, first, that if the inflation is high, right, Walmart has the capacity to increase the price. The earnings for Costco were amazing. The earnings for Kroger's was amazing, and they had multiple upgrades. And also another thing is that if you read the news, I don't know if it's not here, but Walmart actually had US to Mexico, Walmart to Walmart money transfer enabled, and they increased the fee as well for that. So that's another reason for it to be bullish for money transfers Walmart, customers can transfer money between US and Mexico and vice versa. So, and it also broke out of the wedge. So now how do I plan the trade for this one? Now it's kind of extended, so I think if it kind of retests this 141 area, I'm loading the board, which is basically the retest of this pullback. Basically pulls back here and then breaks out. That would be amazing. So Walmart is something which I'm watching. Now, if you look at the weekly chart for Walmart, there are a couple of things to talk about, right? Like if you draw this kind of wedge here from a daily perspective, you can say that it's kind of, still at a resistance area, right? Like the way you draw the trend line can vary, right? So in my opinion, I'm not really focusing much on the trend lines per se. What I'm focusing on is the macroeconomic events, which I just told you guys about, right? So in my opinion, Walmart is going to retest the highs probably in a month or so. It's also in a monthly squeeze here, and it just bounced off. So I'm watching Walmart for potential swing play, but again, it just depends on the overall market and everything which is going along with it, right? Walmart was really strong, given that we had some volatility in the market, and also everything was selling off while Walmart was stable. So definitely watching Walmart, a really good opportunity. And also, if you look at the flow for Walmart here, we can see that, sorry, this is 5,000. Let's move it to 50,000. Bullish orders here for Walmart, and it's still time here, but they're buying 145 call, and Walmart is not a high ATR stock, so which is a good sign. But they're buying leaps on it, on Walmart. And next one I want to talk about is one final one, which is based on macro, which is Allstate. Now, Allstate is an insurance provider, and now you know that we had news today that Congress is adding the bill for ending the COVID emergency, and since COVID now is going, we are getting back to the normal state for COVID. I think the insurance providers are back in the game because now they don't have to worry about that, right? And Allstate has been sold for a while. So looking at this, it's been consolidating under this area for a while, and now it looks like it's about to break out for the next move up. And if you look at the monthly chart, looks like it's reversing, right? And strong candle here on the daily chart as well. On the, like, if you look at the daily, it's in a squeeze, and this consolidation area looks amazing, right? And I told you the reason as well, that the macroeconomic events kind of are like that. It was sold off because of COVID, and now if you look here, it's just like looking really solid for a swing play here if it breaks out. Now I'll be cautious with this one though, because it does sell off at key resistance level, so you need to take profit on this one, especially when you see it. And this is a more kind of like a risky swing play, but again, the opportunity is here, so we need to take advantage of it. Nobody is watching it, so IV is low, and I love low IV plays because they can like create great opportunities for us. So hoping that, like, maybe it will pull back here again one more time and then continue. If that happens, we need to manage the risk, but right now, the looking at it, looks like it's about to test the 130 level. So watching Allstate as well, there's nothing really on the flow side for it, so that's why the IV is low. Maybe we can pounce on it. So those are the setups I'm watching. 2 bullish setups, all and Walmart. 4 bearish setups, and hopefully you guys bank on this. Keep in mind that the VIX is high. volatility is high, so we need to be super careful. All right, folks, good night. I'll catch up later.